Okay. Hello, my name is Monica Robinson, and I am a member of the National Organization of Black Women in Law Enforcement Incorporated Philadelphia chapter, also known as NOBLE. I will be your moderator for our chapter's Let's Talk series, where we'll have conversations with women of color in law enforcement. On this first day of Black History Month, we will talk with Trailblazer Sheriff Rochelle Bilal. She is the first woman and African American woman sheriff in Philadelphia's Sheriff Department's 181-year history. Thank you for joining us. Please submit your questions in the chat, and we will do our best to have them answered during this conversation. Welcome, Sheriff Falau, and congratulations on becoming the first woman and African American woman sheriff. We know January 6, 2021 marks your first year in office. You are Black history. Because of you, we can. To start our conversation, please tell us, why did you want to work in law enforcement?
Well, let's say I didn't really want to work in law enforcement. It wasn't like one of my things. What happened for me to get in law enforcement was really by chance. I worked at the post office, and my mother thought that was a good government job. I thought it was the plantation for real. At the time, I didn't like cops because I lived in North Philly. Police came through our neighborhoods like Gestapo kings, and basically we just did not like them, and they hurt a lot of our people down there. What happened, the Guardian Civic League filed a lawsuit against the city to make sure that people who look like us made up the department. It was 43% black. They wanted 43% of at least us in the department.
Okay.
So when they filed that lawsuit, they got a consent decree. And the consent decree said how many of the 43% that's in the city, that's how many of us needed to be in the classes from that point on.
Mm-hmm.
So then the Guardian Civic League members was out in the neighborhoods, coming around, trying to talk us into being police officers. We beat up on them pretty bad. But two of my friends joined the force. They became police officers. And then the next thing they talking about, you need to be one, you need to be one. I'm like, what? There was a guy in the Guardian Civic League named Drummond. He kept coming. Join the force, join the force. And then my girlfriend said, look, join the force, and then you could be the difference that you want to see in the neighborhoods. Okay. They came to me. They said, you can join the force. All you need is 20 years and age 45. You can retire. I was at the post office. They told me I needed to work till I was 65. You do the math.
Right.
I ran to the police department, and there I was.
Wonderful.
There I was.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad you made that decision. It's a wonderful decision. Now, as sheriff, can you briefly tell us what are some of your responsibilities and what is it that you do?
In the sheriff office, my responsibilities, I'm basically the enforcement arm for the courts.
Okay.
We do the transportation of prisoners to and from, and we pick up those who may be on a warrant outside the city. We do the real estate arm port, where there are tax sales, tax lien sales, mortgage foreclosure sales. That's still the arm of the court.
Okay.
We also do the warrants. We serve protection from abuse orders. We do the warrants of violation of probations. We help the city out with any warrants that they need us to serve. So we also do those things too on the sheriff office. We also deal with those who come to the sheriff office dealing with issues that they may think somebody is taking their property unlawfully. And our investigative team will look into that and see just how the situation was set up. Those are some of the things that we do in the sheriff office.
Okay.
We also do community outreach. Well, since I've been there, I've made community outreach one of the things that we do. As a matter of fact, I hired a director of community outreach that's in my sheriff office. His name is Stanley Williams. He's director of community outreach. And the reason for that is when I was running, what I realized is nobody knew what the sheriff office did. No one. The only thing they knew is they come into your house, kick you out, or they put you out when you're on a mortgage foreclosure.
Mhm.
But they had nothing good to say about what the sheriff office did. And then they also said that they gathered men up, look like us, and then they parade them in front of the cameras because of child support issues. And that's not a good look for a city agency in the city. We may be the arm of the court, but we can't be known for doing nothing positive, nothing. And so that's why the director of community outreach makes a difference in all of that. We educate the community now on what the sheriff office does. And though we are the arm for the court, we also educate families that may go through that situation dealing with their homes,
Mhm.
give them all the information on how to keep their home, give them all the information on all the agencies that they can go to help them save their homes.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad that you have created that or placed that person in that position so they can better educate the city, and hopefully many are learning more about it as they watch this video today. Now, can you also discuss some of the policies and the procedures that you've implemented to improve the efficiency and engagement of the department in addition to the community service that you just mentioned?
Well, when I came into the sheriff office, as there was a lot of information going around on what was not being done, and one of the things that I noticed, because I had a transition team that basically went through every department in the sheriff office, examined it, interviewed everybody working for it, so that we can see exactly what was going on in the sheriff office. And one of the key things, the number one thing, was dealing with the finances on the sheriff office. We are dealing with that, and I'll get to that. But the other major thing was the armory. In the sheriff office, we confiscate guns from protection from abuse orders, and we store them for a period of time, and then either they get it back or they get destroyed. When I walked through there, it looked like a war zone.
Oh, wow.
Everything was everywhere.
Mhm.
Me being 27 years on the police department knew from the door that was unacceptable.
Mhm.
Unacceptable. So once I got in there on January the 6th of 2020, my chief deputy order, his first order was get in that armory and clean it up and
Mhm.
get those things in order. Because I've guns in a file cabinet. What?
Oh,
If
wow.
you're telling homeowners that you need to get a safe, and we know as law enforcement professionals that
Mhm.
you need to put your gun in a safe,
Right.
in a locked box, so that nobody can get to it, especially when you got children in there, then we made sure that we began to clean that up and made sure that the controller comes in to do an audit of that armory
Mhm.
because it was a mess.
Mhm.
Records wasn't being kept. Now the armory records are kept. They're
Mhm.
on a computer. Everything is tagged. It has the state of the art alarm system.
Wonderful.
Those guns are an efficient way. They are no longer. If you walk in there, if I show you the pictures of before and after, you
Mhm.
wouldn't think it was the same place.
Oh, wow.
The other thing is the financing, because it's always been an issue since I've known dealing with the finances of the sheriff office. I asked the controller to come in and do an audit, which they're doing for from 15 to 20, an audit of the church finances. And my transition team also did a deep dive and look at what was going on in that area also. So
Mhm.
we're making sure there's checks and balances.
Mhm.
Where past administration, there's no receipts for something, they disappear. You have no invoices for something, they disappear. We have a policy that you have an invoice, you have a receipt, and
Mhm.
you are documented, and it is input in the computer as to everything that goes on in the sheriff office financially.
Yeah.
So the next time that they decide to come audit at me,
Mhm.
me being there, everything has a check and balance in there. And so those are the things we're still working on to
Mhm.
put in there. I hired a new CFO, Chief Financial Officer, who's coming in to make sure that that situation gets to that point. Our budget officer, he was the interim chief financial officer while I was looking for the perfect person to be the chief financial officer, and he held up his part of the bargain as far as keeping things together and making sure things are accountable. and people are accountable for the work that they do. I brought in a young lady who is the county manager. She's
Mhm.
about 32 years old, and she's doing such an excellent job on making sure that that information there is checked. She check and balance. Those counts are reconciled every single month, and she makes sure that they come out the way they need to. I also brought in a young lady who I've known who came up through the NAACP. Her name is Janae Ayers. She's my chief of staff.
Wonderful.
She was a NAACP Youth Council member. She became the Youth Council president. She graduated high school, went to Harvard for college, came back, became the Youth Council advisor. And because I know her strength, asked her to come in to be my chief of staff. And she's doing an excellent job in that office. My job is making sure that policy change, all those old directives for our deputies, all of that's been updated so that they can be in the modern times as to what they are supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do, and they are clear on that. For the first time ever, I promoted from within a chief deputy of operations. His name is Vernon Muse. He's the chief deputy of operations. He worked in every department in that sheriff office. And so now he's the chief of operations to make sure that that sheriff office and everybody that works under them do their job to the efficiency that they need them to do, to the T. He is excellent. That's a weight off my shoulders. And everybody is more like now working together than what it was before.
Well, that is wonderful. It sounds like you've made a lot of excellent changes, and it's only been a year. So we look forward to seeing what you're going to do for your next years in office.
How about take a break?
No, you won't be able to take a break.
You
Now
know
we need
that.
you. We need that wonderful work that you're doing and all those people that you're bringing together to do that wonderful work. So thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for that. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit. I know you're an advocate of criminal justice reform and that you encourage um, I'm sorry. I know that you've been with the police department for 27 years. You're a 27-year veteran of the police department and that you've served in several communities. I know you just mentioned the NAACP and the Guardian Civic League. Also, nobly, you've been a member of that organization as well. Just want to let you know we do miss you and we hope that you'll come to a meeting soon. I just want to know what are some of the skills that you've learned from those organizations like Nobly that prepared you for your current position?
And Margie know all about that. When No Belief started on us in the Guardian Civic League women, deciding that they wasn't doing enough for us then. And so they looked at, I think Margie was the one that looked online and saw the National Organization of Black Women in Law Enforcement. And so we set off to go meet this national organization. And so we get in the car and we go to New York and we find out there was only one organization and that was them in New York. We're like, what? This not a national? So I think Gail Holly, myself, Margie, Doris Bay, these are the original ones in Noble League. Me and Gail got out on the road. I had a brand new car that did 95,000 miles in 1 year because we went around to different states to start the Noble League chapters that we thought had already existed. And so we went around starting the Noble League chapters, and now we know we got a national organization. And then I guess everybody went on to do what they needed to do. Nobly, the NAACP, I was also vice chair of the National Black Police Association,
Okay.
and now National Association of Black Law Enforcement Officers that I am a part of. Basically, were the organization and the catalyst to tell me that what was wrong in law enforcement was not just in my head. What I saw was not just in my head. That there was a reason why organizations that basically had us in it needed to exist because there was issues in this institution that we know was a problem for us. We know was a problem for our communities. And
Yes.
because we were police officers, we saw what the problem is. Because when I'm 18th district when I came out of the police academy, and my name quickly became Angela Davis because the one thing that I knew, you wasn't going to do that in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you was, I'll put them in my car and take them down to internal affairs and be their witness. Because there are people amongst, and I guess we really, really see it now,
Mhm.
because we have been screaming for a long time in all of our organizations, NABLEO, NAACP, uh, National NABLEO, National Organization of Black Women in Law Enforcement,
Mhm.
Guardian Civic League, that these situations are happening and have been happening. And we have people who are hiding in law enforcement and using that as a tool to disrupt us.
Mhm.
And so those organizations basically gave me the strength to do that, because then when I became a member, I knew I had some backing. Because most of the time when you step up, sometimes you are alone. By me being members of these organizations, I knew I had some backing. Noble League, once we got together, basically we start talking about the issues that pertain to Black women in this institution, and that we wanted to fight for Black women and make sure that they were treated fairly on these jobs. And then most of the time we did that.
Well, that is great to hear, and I thank you for doing that. Because you and Miss Margie did this is why I'm here today. So thank you.
You're
When,
welcome.
when you first started in law enforcement, did you ever imagine yourself in your current role? I know you said that you ended up in law
Now,
enforcement because of opportunity.
no, I did not. Not. Just lucky I'm a police officer for 27 years, and those years go past fast.
Right.
No, but God basically leads you to where you need to be at the time you need to be there. I'm clear on that.
I love that. Well, as the Philadelphia's first African American sheriff, where do you find joy in your career and what do you most enjoy about it?
One things I enjoy working with people. I
Hmm.
love working with the community, and I am in a position now to give women who
Hmm.
look like me an opportunity.
Yes.
And the younger women who most people seem not to want to give, because
Hmm.
they try not to give it to us, but to give an opportunity for them to be a part of these institutions and make a difference. My thing with young people that I constantly say everywhere, and I got it from Angela Bassett, this is not original, I got it from her,
Okay.
that you are always moving towards your purpose,
Hmm.
even when you don't even know what it is yet.
I agree. I truly agree to that. So, with that being said, is there any advice that you have for women of color that want to work in this law enforcement field?
For women to be a part of this institution is very, very important.
Hmm.
Very important. And the one thing that we noticed, that they will bring us in to head these organizations
Hmm.
when they are at their worst. And yes, they want us to do a miracle overnight. Now, we know God has given us miracle powers because we do tend to clean things up,
Yeah.
but be ready for the opportunity.
Hmm.
Note that you can make change in these institutions. Note that you can stand strong and not be afraid of people trying to come at you to pull you off your square. Note that you can do this, and you have to do it, because if you don't, who will? I know you don't want to see these institutions go all the way back to where they were from the beginning,
Mhm.
because if they do, they're coming for you.
Right.
So you need to stop telling your kids not to be in law enforcement. Stop telling your daughters not to be a part of law enforcement. Oh, I'm afraid they're going to get hurt. Well, your child can step off the step and get hurt, like I did, broke my ankle. I mean, you could walk across the street and get hurt, but this institution needs us
Yes.
because we show people in our community a difference. Now,
Yeah.
it's not the same old game while when we are part of it. Though
Hmm.
some of us think they're part of that group, but realistically, it's not the same old game when we are part of it. And
Hmm.
therefore, we can show empathy. We can basically let the community know where we came from. We know what you go through. And so, therefore, maybe they can trust us more to help them out, as the fact that we know that's how we came up with it. We came up. I came up in North Philly. I'm
Hmm.
about change. I'm about making sure that when I get amongst my people, I'm going to give you the straight up truth, and I'm going to treat you fair. And I'm not a part of any group that feels as though that I got to treat you any different. Treat you with dignity and respect. We have to do this job. And if
Yes.
y'all can't see that we don't need to be in it, just imagine. Close your eyes. Go back 50 years.
Mm,
Ask yourself, if we wasn't here, where would you be?
mm. Well, I would not want to imagine a time like that because
I say to people, join the force, join these institutions, join the organizations that can support you. If you come across one of them one of them boys, I am going to use that word. Well, if you come across one of those people who feels as though you don't need to be here,
right.
be a member of the organizations,
Mhm.
and therefore be or get on this job. They need you here.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent advice. Thank you. I received all of that. So thank you so much. I just want to leave it open for our viewers. If anyone has any questions, if you want to post your questions in the chat, and we can ask Sheriff Bilal before we have her say some final words.
Look, Renee, I see somebody said Renee Parker said I want to join. You should have been joined, Renee. Stop playing.
You've also got a lot of amens, a lot of people echoing your words, saying be the change that you want to see, which is what you have done. So it's wonderful discussion. All
And
right, we're
that's when opportunities arise. This was an opportunity,
mhm.
and I took it.
Yes, and you've done amazing things with it. So
Mhm.
thank you. Well, I just want to, give you the opportunity to give some final words. I don't see any questions.
Oh, y'all have no questions for me?
Well, you gave a lot of good information. So, I mean, maybe you answered everything they could think of right now.
Oh, that would be good. But for me, just basically, uh, when there's an opportunity, take it. The one thing we should not do is be catty towards each other.
Yes.
Let's not let somebody put you in to disrupt. Let not somebody push you in to try to tear down. If you are a part of any organization, if you have nothing good to say, if you have nothing good to put into the organization, then don't come,
Mhm.
because people are trying to move forward and not backwards. We
Mhm.
want you to basically join organizations, join these institutions, and work together.
Yes.
Let go the cattiness. I mean, we all grown now.
Mhm.
That stuff we did in childhood shouldn't carry on to your adulthood.
No.
So I'm like, let's stop playing that game. Let's just go. Don't be jealous of somebody making it. Know that they made it, and now the door is open for you.
Yes.
Yes. Amen.
Yes.
So, Margie, all of us fought the battles in these institutions. And
Mhm.
now we open the door for the next group to come and be a part of these institutions. So, we did this for you. When I leave, and I'm telling everybody right now, whenever I leave, I'm opening the door for the next woman to be sheriff, because we're not giving it back.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that. Yes.
So this going to be a position for a woman from this point on. We are not giving it back. So I'm raising the next woman to be a sheriff, be the next woman sheriff in the city of Philadelphia. That's
Yes.
my responsibility. That's what I need to do.
I love that. Thank you so much, Sheriff Falau, for spending this time with us. We appreciate getting to know you. We're thankful for all your insight. We've definitely benefited from it, and we hope to have you again to come and talk to us about some of your experiences. And thank you. Just thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome to everybody. Thanks everybody for coming.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Well, just so don't leave yet. Nobody's Let's Talk conversation will continue. We will continue to interview women of color in law enforcement. So follow us on Nobly Phila at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for more information on our upcoming conversations. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you again, Sheriff Bilal.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you all.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.